welcome back to Urban Yoke. My name is Giulia. As always, I'm super delighted to have you here. So in the previous video, I spoke a little bit about, quite a lot about just being pregnant in Italy and being pregnant with Syringomyelia. So if that interests you, please go ahead and watch that video if you haven't yet. Whew. Otherwise, I just wanted to give a little update on my husband's permesso di soggiorno. For those of you who are looking to come to Italy on a spousal visa, or any kind of visa, but a spousal visa, I might have some information that will help. So, for context, I'm an Italian citizen, but I'm also a South African citizen, and my husband's a South African citizen, and we moved to Italy over a year ago with our 6 cats. And we've just been on this journey of trying to get him his permesso di soggiorno, which basically means a permit to live here. So it's a permit to live and work in Italy, and would be quite similar to a spousal visa, or family reunification visa, that kind of thing. And yes, so we're still waiting. It's supposed to take a maximum of 2 months. It has not been 2 months, it's been over a year, and almost, well, in the process, but let's say it's well over 6 months that they were supposed to actually give us an idea of when it would be ready, or give us the permit. So the process is essentially this. I had to come to Italy and register my residency here, and then fill out, all of the paperwork for my husband. So what we did is we got my residency sorted, which took approximately 2 months, and then he could come over on a tourist visa. Once he arrived on a tourist visa, we had to then let the comune, so the municipality or town hall, know that he is here and he's staying with me, even though his name is on the rental contract. We had to do that, and then we had to get all the paperwork together. I will leave a link down in the description for you where it's got all the paperwork that we needed listed there, and perhaps a bit more information that I won't go through in this video. So we had to get all that paperwork together and then get the kit, what they call a kit, from the post office, or go to the post office to fill in the rest of the kit. And then the post office sends everything to the questura, the immigration office at the questura. And the questura is the police headquarters of a province. So in our case, it's the province of Como in the region of Lombardy. Sorry, my throat's a little bit scratchy today. Right, so that's kind of where we started. And he arrived in the last week of August last year, 2022. And then we went through in September to take all of the paperwork to the post office that could then be sent to the questura. And then the post office gives you a receipt and an assicurata. Assicurata is a smaller receipt that has your case number on it, as well as confirmation that you're allowed to stay in the country up until you have received your verdict, i.e., denied or approved. So, alright, we got all of that, and then they also gave us the time and day of our appointment with the questura for his first interview. That was in December 2022. We went and did that. They had all of the paperwork, but required one extra thing that was not listed on the website and that our lawyer wasn't aware of, and he in fact thought it was a very peculiar thing that they asked for, which was a family status certificate. Luckily, it was fairly easy to get from the comune, so the town hall or municipality building here in our village. The people are very nice, so it wasn't very difficult to get. So, we did that. During our time waiting, we essentially got strong-armed out of our apartment that we were renting because the owner wanted to sell, and even though we had a contract in place, we weren't quite fully aware of the laws at the time and ended up having to move. So during the process we had to move and then let them know at the questura that we've moved and given extra paperwork to show that the landlady here is okay with my husband staying there. He's on the rental contract. We've registered at the new comune, the new municipality, and basically just repeat half of the paperwork we had to do. And from there, we were waiting then for the vigili, so it's like the local police, to come and check up on my husband in the sense of that he's actually living here and he's a resident here. In the end, they didn't send those people. They landed up actually just emailing the comune and asking for their confirmation, which they did send, and that happened in May. So since May, even though going multiple times to the questura, we were told that the paperwork was just locked up and hidden. Well, hidden. It's behind paperwork essentially in Rome. And it was a few months of this, and then eventually I decided to contact the lawyer that's been helping us and ask him for assistance in this matter because we weren't getting a response from the questura and there was no other way other than going there, which takes an entire day to go find out. So, the lawyer got involved. He then got he was quite upset, I would say, about the way that they responded, and this caused him to go the route of an official complaint with a timeline of what had happened. So what it seems like is that after our comune responded that my husband is here in May, a few weeks after that they should have issued the permit. So it was approved and they should have issued the permit, the permesso di soggiorno, which they didn't do. And it seems like they lost the response from the comune and responded to the official complaint by saying that they hadn't received anything from the comune and that's why it is behind and that they couldn't issue the permit. So we had to go back and just make sure, and the questura did contact them again and she did reply again, and yeah, that took more than a few weeks of back and forth to make sure that this communication was happening. And now we have received a message to go to the questura next week. The lawyer believes that it is actually for the permit, so the permit might actually be ready. I'm not entirely sure. I'm not sure if it's just because they want to ask more questions or if they require more information. Either way, we've got a file we're going to take it with, so if they require anything, we've got it all there. And that's where we are. We are in a situation of maybe he has it, but as far as we understand, it has been approved. It's a matter of issuing it now. Hopefully next week they will issue it. Do come back, because I will then do a video next week and post it for the week after, and post it just to let everyone know whether or not he actually got it, and if we can move on from this crazy nightmare of bureaucracy that has been has been here in Italy for us. It's honestly the only aspect of living in Italy that is very difficult is how long everything takes and how emotionally sensitive you have to be at all times when communicating with public officials. They don't deal well if you speak slightly loudly because you're agitated or something like that. So you have to be very emotionally aware of what you are putting out there into the world and be courteous at all times. It can be very draining, along with the wait times and the intense bureaucracy of, if you don't have an attorney, it can be very difficult to get an answer out of these people, and not everyone can afford an attorney. Honestly, we could barely afford it. We just managed to save more than what we expected, and we're able to actually have an attorney assist us, which I'm hugely grateful for. I'll leave their information down in the description as well if you are interested in using their firm for your relocation to Italy, because it helped a lot having them on our side. And honestly, the package that they sell is great. It's expensive, but it's great value. You're getting a lot out of them, and they're assisting quite a bit with a very difficult situation that can be extremely difficult to navigate, even if you speak Italian. You know, it's that thing with law. It's just so much more complicated than everyday speaking, right? So that's where we're at. We're in a maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. Yes. That's kind of where we're at. And yeah, we'll have to stay tuned, as it were, to find out whether or not he gets it and for how long it's for. So we were told it's going to be 2 years. I don't know if it's 2 years from the date of issue or if it's 2 years from when he first applied, because if that's the case, then we essentially have to start preparing to apply again. Because for a spousal visa, they often give you a 5-year residency card, as they call it. But in our case, I hadn't been living in Italy long enough to complete a tax cycle, so they hadn't issued, or they decided that they wouldn't be issuing the 5-year, but rather the 2-year, and see his commitment after 2 years, and then apply for the 5-year. But we will see. We will see what happens. It's been so long. I'm not sure what it's going to be, for how long it's going to be valid for, or from what date it will be valid for. So that's also information, if we do get it next week, that I will share. Yeah. So that's kind of where we are. Just waiting for this information. It's super weird. I hope that we actually do get it next week. It will really lighten the load for next year, where we can actually like settle and get our life started and start focusing on the, on making a home for our family. So, we've got the 6 cats, and we've also got our little one on the way. So there's a lot to be done and a lot more bureaucracy to deal with. And I'd like it if we could just take it on, one bureaucratic system at a time. But yes, shortly after we do receive his permit, we will start investigating him getting getting citizenship here in Italy. And if you're interested in that and how that works for a spouse, do stay tuned for that as well, because I will be sharing a little bit more about that and how we're going to go about it. Because whether or not you have children affects how much time, and then language as well. So yes, that's where we're at. If you have any questions about the family reunification visa, spousal visa here in Italy, for residency specifically, please let me know down in the comments, and I'll be happy to answer to the best of my abilities. But of course, if you would like a professional, please do contact the law firm that assisted us. They have been quite helpful throughout this whole process. And yeah, that's it. And I will see you in the next video. Ciao! Alla prossima!